And welcome back to an episode of Cinderella Phenomenon Evermore. Now, in the last episode, we managed to complete Waltz's route in Cinderella Phenomenon Evermore, where they have tied the knot, which I assume every single story is going to go like this. Tantalus, my friend here, he's going to be on in just a moment. But before that, I kind of wanted to go over a few things that we are going to go through in this part. So first off, I wanted to give huge apologies to the previous episode, because I didn't know until I pre-watched the episode that Toby's sound didn't go through. So it's going to feel like I'm throwing out random references left and right, but hopefully you should still be able to enjoy the episode as is if you want to check it out. But yeah, I've been having a lot of sound problems lately, so I'm hoping this episode will be the time that we finally fix them, so fingers crossed. But it gets me to another announcement, which is I am finally going to be able to get a new laptop by end of this month, beginning of April. At the latest. So that's some good news that I can easily share with you. So finally we should be able to do streams without worrying about lagging. So I've got some titles already in mind for those lag-free days when they finally arrive. So I am super excited for that. Of course, we're still going to do our beautiful traditional visual novel format, but I have been wanting to expand my repertoire lately. I really enjoyed the Metroid Fusion playthrough, but especially during the finale, I wish I had a much better computer at the time when I did that playthrough. So hopefully, with a new computer, a lot of the playthroughs, when I redo them, and I'm planning on redoing a few of them, like Jotun Valhalla Edition, and possibly Metroid Fusion in the mix too, and Prince of Persia: Sands of Time. When I redo those, or at least with Prince of Persia, at least I'm going to continue it. When I continue that playthrough, it should go a lot more smoothly compared to the beginning, where there was a lot more lag, and I was still kind of figuring out my voice and all that kind of stuff. So that's some reassurance that I can give you that a new device will be coming in by the end of this month, beginning of April at the latest. So that's some good news that I am going to throw in here. Now, in terms of Cinderella Phenomenon related stuff, here's a couple of things that I basically discovered. So it turns out that what we got in terms of the ending, so Cinderella Phenomenon Evermore basically has no bad endings. So whatever you do, it is going to be a good ending. However, what we got, which was this, was actually not the true ending. This was basically the happy ending before the true end. So what we need to do, essentially, very similar to Cinderella Phenomenon, except with no bad endings, is essentially we need to answer the stuff previously correctly to basically figure out which one will get us to the true end of the story. So what I'm going to do basically is try to figure out from this version of Lucette, which I feel like is a lot easier to predict compared to the past version of Lucette here with Cinderella Phenomenon, the first game, is that I'm basically going to try and answer the questions as accurately as possible based on the relationship with side character. And then that should in turn, I think, not only unlock the good end, like the typical good end, but also the true ending at the end. So that's the main intention that I've got here in terms of this playthrough. So for today, which you'll see pretty much listed on my YouTube channel and on here on Twitch, is that my goal today is to get to Waltz's true end, and then we're going to start with Fritz's route. We're probably going to get through at least one chapter today. That's what I'm hoping for. So in order to make this a bit more streamlined, what I'm basically going to do is do the choice that I think would be the most accurate. I kind of already know which one definitely needs correcting. And then we're going to fast forward the dialogue that we've basically went through already. So that way we're saving time. Type of streets. Though, of course, I am also thinking of maybe doing some future videos about routes I didn't choose, like things that I didn't really like routes I was curious about if it ended up not being the route to the true end. So we're gonna go through that at some point. So hopefully that helps out. So yeah, sit back, relax. We're gonna start once again with Waltz's route, but this time we are going to focus more on trying to get the true ending. So without further ado, let's go ahead and give this a shot. So we're going to start again, which now we've unlocked the fast forward feature, so it would skip through dialogue, but apparently it could also accidentally skip through unseen dialogue if you're not careful, so I'm going to definitely be careful here. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay. So we are going to go with Waltz's route. So how's everybody doing today? I'm doing all right. I had a pretty slow day at work. My phone also basically disconnected just right before I was going to do my stream. So there was that, which really kind of set a damper on things, so I kind of was able to get in touch with Toby for like a good while. But my service resumed not too long after that, thankfully, so I'm back in business. I also got this new journal here, this Wonder Woman Collector's Journal, so I'm a big fan of Wonder Woman. And I've mentioned in several playthroughs before that I am working on a Wonder Woman screenplay, so I'm hoping that it gets taken by the time COVID starts going down. So let me see. Okay, yeah, so nothing really changed, but maybe it'll change once you get the true ending to each of these, but let's see. So that's quad. I think Waltz is in the back. Yep, Waltz is in the back. So once again, we're going to meet once again with Queen Lucette Rial Britain of Angiel. So we're going to go ahead and fast forward to our first choice. This is the one that I felt the most unsure about. So, cause I think I said, wait for me the last time. I think this is the other one that I felt really unsure about. This is the one I felt one of the most unsure about. Whether it was wait for me or don't wait for me. I think I chose wait for me the last time. Let me look at the log here. So maybe this will be the one time where she changes her mind and says, don't wait up for me. But let's try that. Let's see what happens. So let's say don't wait for me. Let's see what happens. I'm not sure how long this will take, but I do not want you waiting up like last time. Lucette, you know I don't mind waiting for you. But I do. Waltz furrows his eyebrows at me. Well, if you insist, just don't push yourself too hard, okay? I'll try. So, okay, that did give it a little bit more development, at least. So I think that was a good first change that I could put in, was the don't wait for me part. So let's go ahead and fast forward to our second choice here. Oh, did something change? Hold on. Okay, this is the cool part. So, allow the night to lead me back to my carriage. Okay, all right. So this is a huge scene change here. So this is just after the meeting with like that magical coal people, with the efficient magical coal people. So because she didn't ask me to wait up for her, this is the one change we got here. So let's go ahead and go over it. As soon as I return to the palace, I head back to my room, papers in hand. I enter quietly. The room is still lit, but I am unsurprised to see Waltz has already fallen asleep. He lies face down on the bed, feet dangling off the edge. It looks as if he collapsed in a fit of exhaustion. I do not regret telling him not to wait up for me. Magic lessons are tiring. He really needed the rest. I smile as I walk over to the bed and carefully throw a blanket over Waltz. I lean down to plant a soft kiss in his forehead. Sleep well, Waltz. Okay. Alright. So, that's one change that I'm glad that I did. That was a little change that gave a little sweet moment. So let's go ahead and fast forward to the next decision. Next! Alright. He seems preoccupied. Ooh. So far, I feel really good with my decision. So, what did I do the last time? Let me see. The last time I did, I think it was stay and watch? Let's go ahead and give that a shot. So, this decision we went through before, so we're going to fast forward. This is the one I feel very sure about. This is the one, hands down, it would be tell me a story. Waltz always tells the best stories. Let's see. Gently, he drums his fingers against my hip. Once upon a time, there was a witch who fell in love with a princess. The princess was the kindest and most beautiful woman he had ever met, and he knew immediately that she had stolen his heart. But the witch did not want to ask her for her heart unless she gave it to him willingly, unless she reciprocated his feelings. So he watched over her from afar and wished for her happiness with all of his heart. But then, the princess did fall in love with him. Waltz presses a kiss to the top of my head. He speaks softly into my hair. Yes, and the witch knew he was the luckiest man in all the realm. Did they live happily ever after? I could feel Waltz's smile. I don't know. That future is still being written. A soft silence settles over the room. I hate cliffhangers. Oh? Waltz shifts slightly, propping himself up on one elbow so he can look down at me. I guess you'll have to make time for me every night so you can hear the rest of the story. Neglecting all my queenly duties for a story? That would be awfully irresponsible of me. I reach up to cup his cheek. But neglecting them for you? That is dangerously tempting. I shudder when Waltz turns my hand and presses a gentle kiss to my wrist. I am the luckiest woman in the world to have someone as good as you by my side. Dang, these lines! These lines are on fire! Yeah, that one I'm definitely glad I did. So let's go ahead and go to the next decision. Next! So let me see if I can remember this one. So this was magic stuff? Oh yeah, the anniversary stuff. Okay. Take some time off. I think I conceded this time, but last time. But knowing Lucette, she's gonna protest. Let me do protest this time. Let me save. Let me protest this time and see what happens. Let's go ahead. I'm around chapter 2 already, so let's protest. I cannot afford to take a break, Waltz. I have far too much to do. And you can't tell me to take time off when you will not do the same. Lucette, it's not like this is a competition. I promise, everything will be fine. You always say that everything will be fine. Not everyone can be as nonchalant as you, Waltz. The words came out more clips than anticipated. Waltz looked shocked. Lucette, I'm not dismissing your enormous workload. I'm just trying to make it more bearable for you to tackle. Is there anything I can do? I want to help. I sigh. No, Waltz. You're already doing enough. Then how can I... Let me do my work at my own pace. Oh! Oh, God. Okay. I appreciate you trying to help me, truly, but taking a break will only stress me further, Waltz. I know myself best. Of course. In true Waltz fashion, he seems to shake off all the negativity easily enough. So? Okay! There we go. The awkward bath sequence. There we go. Okay. That gave much more depth than I thought. Okay. There's some changes that I'm glad that I made here. But let's go on to the next part. Next! Gonna go on with this, aren't we? Okay. Let me see what happened in the previous part. I think a bath might help you relax. We have some time before breakfast. I know you'd rather get some work done, but I really think the bath will help you relax now. I sigh. If you insist. I'm sorry if it sounded like I was belittling your efforts in any way, Lucette. No, I spoke too sharply. I'm sorry, Waltz. It's... the negative energy from the Tenebrarum. I know. It could be that, or it could be my sleeplessness. Either way, Waltz does not deserve those harsh words. He is only trying to help after all. Actually, that's another thing I totally forgot. The Tenebrarum, negative influence would totally stress Lucette out at this point. So, that's one thing I totally forgot to consider into this, is that would be a problem. So, that's another thing I have to keep in mind, because I think with the exception of Waltz's ending, I believe, pretty much every single one is Lucette being a Tenebrarum bearer, each one with more depth than the last. So, well, this would be the most depth, Rod's having the least depth about it, but with the exception of I think Fritz's ending is the only one where both of the crystals cancel each other out, but for the most part, that's something I have to keep in mind as I do this. So anyway, let's see. I appreciate you trying to help, Waltz. Waltz smiles feebly. Always. I said I'd always be by your side, remember? I can never forget. I slip my bed and make my way toward the door. And with that, we are going next! I spent the morning reviewing important paperwork from the royal advisors. At first, it is not so difficult. I am used to sifting through all this jargon after all. But I underestimate how complex the proposed policies are, and eventually, the words begin to blur as a headache throbs in my temples. Why must this be so needlessly complicated? That was me in grad school this afternoon. Oh gosh. I glance up when the clock sounds. Right! I told Waltz I would meet him by the royal catacombs. I rise from my chair and begin to make my preparations to leave. So I have to think about this like a royal at this point, because she's got her royal duties that she has to think about, and on top of that, she's a Tenebrarum bearer. So obviously, she's going to be putting her people first before herself. I can't think like Waltz in this instance, as much as I want to. So, on that note, next! Ooh! Oh yeah! The revelation about his past, right. This is where it gets complicated. Cause comforting him would make the most sense because basically they both suffered under the hands of Hildur. But on the other hand, I don't think Lucette had the maturity yet to kind of assess that, because like she's still thinking that everything's all her fault. But on the other hand, they were both children. You know what? I'm gonna stick with the comfort him part. So I think this is what I chose last time. So I think I'm gonna stick with comfort him because it was a pretty good one. But anyway, as much as I love the sentimental moment, we have got to get to the new route because I also want Toby to get in this. So next. Oh, okay, new dialogue. Sweet. Okay. I know you said you were busier earlier, but this won't take up too much time. I promise. Much to my chagrin, I find that I cannot resist his adorable, endearing smile. Fine, if you insist. Okay, and then that's the star shower part. So, next. I think the nun was the very accurate one because I did not expect that one was actually going to work so well. So I'm going to stick with that because knowing her and also that backstory is so important. So I'm going to go with nun. Okay. Next. Lucette shouldn't have to communicate with them directly. The Order of Caldera just to deal with those criminals. I would say argue, because I know she would want to be more direct. So let's try that. Okay, yeah, I did argue the last time, so next! Okay, this is where I need to save here. So, I think I said you have no right to judge him the last time. So, next. I think I said disagree. Can I fast forward through this? Oh, I can't. Okay. I think I said reason with them. Oh wait, no I didn't. No I didn't. I didn't say reason with them, even though I said disagree. Okay. Let me try reasoning with them. Let's see what happens. I shake my head. Do you know what I learned 2 years ago, Waltz? I learned that the line between good and bad is thin and murky. Ooh, this is so much better! Okay, let's see. Parfait once told me that there's no balance without darkness. Just as Tenebrarum and Lucis are two halves of one whole, we are all two made of the darkness and light. But we are all capable of incredible good. You taught me that. When I say you are good, I acknowledge even your faults, Waltz. I love you, Waltz. Exactly as you are. Waltz leads over to plant a kiss on my cheek. I shift slightly so that I can catch his lips with my own instead. Waltz's eyes are sparkling when he pulls away. I love you too, Lucette. Thank you for accepting me just as I am. Always, Waltz. Please, never ever feel you must keep me in the dark. Understood? Waltz smiles softly, still with uncertainty in his eyes. Wow, that was what I didn't expect at all. That was good. Oof, that was good. Alright, on that note. Next! I think it's the Better Than Mother that I chose. Yep. Next! And then I gave the chocolate to the children, so I feel like I'm gonna stick with that. But anyway, what? Actually, can I go back? I can't go back. Anyway, let's just hope that works. But anyway, next. Oh snap! This one. It's not a spell that requires great concentration, so I believe that is. Wait. Oh god, I forgot already. Okay, let's see. Powerful spells cannot be deflected while weak spells can. So, it's a weak one. So, it's deflection. Okay, deflection. Yes. Next! Okay, you can make a difference now. I remember that. Next! Ooh, this is the one that's complicated, because, like, it could be a perhaps, but it could be, I don't believe it's true. You know what? I think I might actually change it to perhaps this time. Let's see what happens. Perhaps? I caught his tongue. Dang. Your Majesty. There is no such thing as true peace. There will always be upheaval and dissent. Such is the nature of society. But we can incorporate structures that will help us deal with those injustices fairly. Even if an ideal is unattainable, I do not think it is foolish to work toward it regardless. We got him with that! Dang! I think it's a good thing I actually changed there. That is the difference between my mother and I. She gave up. The only solution she was interested in was bloodshed. But violence begets more violence. I will not pit humans and witches against each other. I will never take sides. That is my duty, as both the Tenebrarum Bearer and the Queen of Angiel. The witch exhales softly. Perhaps it is a trick of the light, but he looks like he is smiling. There is nothing more painful than putting your heart into something that will inevitably fail. Perhaps, but I would much rather try than give up. You have more of a backbone than I thought, Your Majesty. Your Majesty? He actually used my title. This has been an enlightening talk. I still think it's all foolishness, but I appreciate hearing all this from your own mouth. It is my duty as bearer to watch over the witches of the kingdom. You are included in that duty, even if you do not consider me your queen. Damn! Lucette, you have matured! Whew. Okay. Next! Alright, candy now, please. Next! And we still got the good ending. But you know what? I think we still had a pretty fun time in terms of trying to figure out what it is, but we got a few we got a few good material here. So at least we had some idea as to what to expect. So but yeah, I mean, we have some idea as to what we're gonna figure out in terms of Waltz's ending. I feel like we're just a little bit closer. just a little bit closer in terms of figuring out what way to do in terms of Waltz's good ending. I mean, I don't feel like using the right choice indicator for this, so we will figure it out somehow. Okay, so I gotta do something similar with like the Cinderella Phenomenon, like the OG version. If I don't figure it out within three attempts, this is attempt number 2. If I don't think of it figured out by this next attempt, which we'll probably try in a future episode, then we shall go with the wiki to figure this out. But until then, I feel like I'm really close to figuring it out what it is in actuality. So, clearly there are a few things I gotta keep in mind. There's a Tenebrar with the negative energy influence that will obviously influence her decisions. There's Lucette wanting to take responsibility for everything, and then ultimately Lucette wants to overcome the legacy of her mother. That's the 3 things that stand out with this story. And in turn, Waltz also wants to overcome his own past. So so I think with the first interaction, we may have to show a little bit more vulnerability to the witch initially about, like, you have no right to judge me. We may have to say instead it's none of your business, because she's just figuring out all this stuff. So she's pretty new to it. Versus, I mean, she hasn't, so she's, in other words, she's gradually growing into the wisdom. Because in the beginning, she's still kind of taking responsibility for everything. So maybe like for like Waltz's parents, for example, she may apologize instead of saying you did nothing wrong, even though she may think that too. So we'll figure this out. We will figure this out. But I feel like thanks to this playthrough, we are super duper close. We are super duper close to the true ending, from what I can see. So yeah. And some of it I'll play with Toby as well. I kind of am curious. Of course, he tries to jump onto my streams anyway, so I'm sure once he gets on, should be great. Alright, let me just double check and see if he is online. Just give me one moment. Alright, back here. Okay, so just gonna wait for him to respond. But yeah, so there's some pretty interesting stuff in here. So I feel like a lot of the later stories kind of focus more on redemption, really, because Waltz in this case, it's more so redemption for like past war crimes, if you can call them that, and then this one with Fritz, it's gonna be more for sins of the father, really, like the metaphor of the sins of the father, if you think about it, because like he's the one who cursed Fritz without his knowledge, essentially, and he just switched in between without really thinking about it. So I think he's going to feel a lot more of a burden, like, I failed to protect Lucette through all this, even though she trusted me. My father basically tainted any ounce of honor that I had So it's a different kind of redemption here. In this case, he's doing redemption for his father's crimes. And I think if I remember correctly, almost everybody died in this ending. Like, almost everybody died. Delora died, I think. Parfait and Hildur died. Myth died. Even Alcaster died. Like, everybody died except Gennaro. Like, basically everybody major from, like, Lucett's parentage died except Gennaro. So I remember mixing it up with Karma. I'm not sure. No, wait! I mixed it up with Karma. Karma was the one where, like, everybody died. But again, I could see it with Waltz, too, come to think of it, because, like, Alcaster was just... Oof. Like, I don't know which one was worse, Myth or Alcaster, because, like, they were both sides of the same coin. But anyways, so, let's go on and go with, Waltz's HEA. Once upon a time in a land far away, there lived a princess. She was known as the Ice Princess, named for her frigid heart and unyielding coldness toward others. The princess shunned all who sought to help her. She was scared to go out into the world, so she locked herself up in her palace. Then one day, the Ice Princess became the victim of the infamous fairy tale curse, and was forced to go from riches to rags. As the princess struggled to come to terms with her new life, she met a very special man. The two endured much strife, helping each other overcome various ordeals. In the end, they emerged victorious. The special man thawed the princess's ice-cold heart and dried her dampened spirits. The two vowed to love each other for the rest of time. They lived happily ever after. But what happens after happily ever after? And this time, we actually are going to be calling her Her Highness Crown Princess Lucette. Wow, I didn't know how to say Lucelle. This time, we actually are calling her by her proper title. Her Highness Crown Princess Lucette Riella Britain of Angiel. Yeah, clearly I've been working for too long. Lucelle instead of Lucette. Okay, so we're gonna go with Waltz's route. I believe it should be this one? Yeah, Fritz's route. That's where we go. So, here we go. Let me just double check something real fast. Let me just see. Hold on. Hello.
Hello.
Just to let you know, we're live.
Yeah, sorry. We're playing this Harry Potter game. That's really fun, but it takes so long.
Which one is it?
It's like a board game thing. It's just called Battle for Hogwarts.
Ooh, I've heard of this one. Yeah.
Yeah, you literally play like through each year, like beating all the villains and.
Do you sort yourself into like your own house or something?
No, you play as the Harry Potter characters.
Oh, because I know there's another version where like you make your own character around the era. I think it was, but then again, that was like Marauders era, Hogwarts.
Yes, so it's like up to a 4-player game. You have like Harry, Ron, Hermione, and Neville. Each person can play as. They each have their own abilities and whatnot.
Yeah, I like that Neville's getting some love here.
Neville killed like 80% of the bad guys.
Yeah, I mean, there have been running theories that, like, Neville was another one of the chosen ones, that Harry was basically not the only one, especially with, like, what happened to his parents.
Yeah, basically, like, the way the prophecy worked out, it could have been Harry or Neville.
Mm-hmm.
But through his actions, Voldemort just kind of, like, chose Harry in a way.
Yeah. Though I think even some ways, like, I think even it kind of worked through Neville in a way, because, like, he took the, like, while Harry was kind of more prominent in terms of the Voldemort side of things, in terms of everything else, hands down, Neville was doing a lot.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he practically was the reason why Gryffindor won the House Cup in the first book, literally. Like, he's basically saved Gryffindor.
Yeah.
Just from stopping them from doing something really foolish.
Yeah, and then, like, I also feel like, in the end, he was a big part of, like, gathering Dumbledore's army and, like, getting everyone together and that whole thing.
Exactly. But yes, our Harry Potter analysis of the day, ladies, gents, and non-binary friends. And this is right before Waltz's ending. So I tried to get the good end, like the true good end for Waltz's ending. Unfortunately, I still couldn't get it, but there was some pretty good story depth. Feel free to check out the live stream a little bit earlier, like once this is published. But yeah, it's really good stuff. I think you'd like it.
Okay.
But yeah, we're gonna get started with Fritz's ending. So to give a little bit of context, Fritz, at least in the first game, it might have changed now with this one. Fritz was Lucette's personal bodyguard, and he got cursed by Myth and his dad, Sir Alcaster, with, I think it was the Red Riding Hood curse, where he turns into the big bad wolf known as Varg. So, but he doesn't know it at first. Like, he's not really entirely aware of the transformation at first until he shows up into the March-In, and everybody's like, wait a minute. How are you able to get in if you're not cursed or granted permission to be here? So they were able to put two and two together pretty easily to figure out that, wait, he's cursed. But what's the curse that he's under is the question. And it goes to some really interesting angles with that one. But yeah, like that one was I feel like the Red Riding Hood curse is a lot harder to break because you weren't exactly sure what it was you had to do to break it. It really wasn't that straightforward. I would have a really tough round right now.
No, we finished that up, and now my Discord is just taking forever to load.
Uh-oh. Alright. Well.
Okay,
So, this time, Lucette is not the Queen of Angiel in here. She is the Crown Princess, so her I think if I remember correctly, her dad's still very much alive. But I don't remember if it's Waltz's ending or Karma's ending that, like, a good chunk of the characters were gone. Like, like it was like around here. It was where things got really serious, and I think it's, if I remember correctly, yeah, it is Karma's ending. Actually, Karma's ending was when like the crystals essentially cancel each other out. So as a result, there's no magic whatsoever.
Okay, I think I'm good. I think we're good.
Okay, awesome. Tech stuff.
Oh yeah, it's great.
All right, here's your thing. All right, so without further ado, here is Fritz's story. So we're gonna get through maybe one chapter, hopefully. So, chapter 1, The Knight in No Armor. Oh yeah, he voluntarily stepped down. I remember that.
Shoot, what voice was I doing for him? And that is why, on this day, I'm stepping down from my honorable position as commander of the Order of Caldera.
Yep, that's it. Caldera. Yep.
Caldera.
Fritz is standing on a small podium erected just outside the front gate, his expression somber as he gazes at the large gathering of knights. He has already given his resignation speech to the majority of the lower-ranking knights. This one is just for ceremony purposes. I wish it's ceremonial there. Grammatical error! There we go. But that's my English major talking right there. Anyway. I stand at the edge of the gate, arms crossed as I watch the proceedings. My heart ought to be filled with hope, but I am more anxious than I've been in years. Oh, wait, I forgot. Whoops, I forgot to switch back.
Yeah, I was gonna mention that. There we go.
There we go. I cannot shake the feeling that Fritz is doing this because of me. It has been 2 years since Fitzgerald Aidan Leverton, my personal knight, was promoted to the position of commander. Father bestowed the title and responsibility upon him after seeing how he acted during the crisis with Mother. Fritz possessed the required skill and the ability to lead, even if he did sometimes require my assistance on account of his initial clumsiness. The new responsibilities pulled Fritz away from me. It has been like this for nearly 2 years, even though the two of us see each other when we can. They say distance makes the heart grow fonder, but in this case...
Or forgetful.
That too. I stare hard at Fritz. There is nothing soft about the look on his face.
That is why it is an honor for me to promote Jurian Valiente, my second-in-command, to head commander. I expect you to treat her with the same respect you have shown me.
That is a good choice, Fritz. Jurian is the perfect choice. Because she wanted that position for a while, so it makes total sense. In fact, like, I think it was, like, his dad, Alcaster, who kicked her and Garland out of the Order in the first place. So this is like a great redemption arc right here with her being put back in. By Fritz, actually. So, that's actually pretty nice. Nice touch here. Anyway, Jurian moves forward to stand beside him when he gestures. Sir Fitzgerald? A flicker of smile passes over Fritz's face.
Sir is a little stiff, don't you think?
Jurian smiles at him. There is a subtle sadness in her eyes, though I cannot imagine why. The proceedings go on for some time after that. It is only when the ceremony has drawn to a close that I head back to the palace for my mandatory lessons. Wait. I may have to rewatch this ending with, like... I think Garland didn't make it either! I forgot about this! Maybe this is the one I was thinking of? But let's see.
Is everybody dead?
Yeah, there's one ending where like everybody major is gone except like Lucettes' dad, and I think even Fritz didn't make it. I think it was Karma's ending that like it was either Karma or Chevalier's ending. Like basically like it even got to the point where like even Fritz died in one of the endings. That's how bad it got. Actually, I think it is Karma. I think Karma was the one where like almost everybody died except Gennaro, and then even Fritz and Garland died as well. Like it was such a dramatic ending, and then even the crystals cancel each other out, and they were gone. Like that was insane. But on the other hand, I think it was focused more on. Because Karma is famous for his sword fighting, I think they wanted to focus more on like the combat aspect of it rather than the magical one, so it makes total sense why they would do that there. But yeah, we'll see. Maybe I'm remembering it wrong, but I feel like it was Karma's ending where like everybody's gone. Anyway, as Delora was gone too. But anyway, let's just proceed with this one. At least we got this one in front of me. I am relieved when my tutor dismisses me early. Maybe now I'll be able to catch Fritz. I am on my way to the palace gates when I stop, noticing Fritz and Jurian at the end of the corridor. The minute Fritz sees me, his lips pull back into a gentle smile.
Princess? I was wondering when you'd appear.
Good afternoon, Princess Lucette. Good afternoon, Jurian Valiente, Commander of the Order of Caldera. Jurian laughs. It still sounds like such a mouthful.
It's shorter than Lieutenant Commander of the Order of Caldera, at least.
Okay, let me check this. Okay. Commander of the Order of Caldera. Commander of the Order of Caldera. Yeah, that's just adding. That's 6 versus 7. Yeah, he has a point there. A fair point. I hope you know I'll still be asking for your advice every now and then, Fritz. I hope you don't mind.
Of course not. It's the least I can do after putting this responsibility on you so suddenly.
But now, no titles, no obstructions, right? She smiles at the two of us. You two have all the time in the world to spend together. Or a lot more of it, in any case. She pauses to look between us. May I ask you something?
Of course.
Being able to be with the princess isn't the only reason you resigned, is it?
What makes you say that?
Before I can react, Fritz wraps arm around my waist and pulls me closer.
The princess has always been my top priority.
Considering he was a bodyguard all those years, it makes total sense. The words are accompanied by a mischievous grin. I am equally stunned and embarrassed. Jurian stares between the two of us with wide eyes. When Fritz sees her expression, he pulls his arm away with a laugh.
Sorry, princess. Sometimes I can't help teasing.
Those little comments of Fritz's have been more common over the past 2 years. I believe more than anything that he speaks like this more often now because he's more comfortable around me. You two really have changed, haven't you? Both of you. I know that she is right, but she is looking primarily at Fritz when she says it. But was the princess really the only reason, Fritz? Though Fritz continues to smile, I could see something twitch in his expression. I have known him long enough to see beyond his confident facade. I could now read Fritz's true emotions from his small gestures. No, it is not the only reason. Sins of the Father, ladies, gents, and non-binary friends. Here we go. I think back to the jeering crowds and the agitated townsfolk. I remember the way people protested Fritz's promotion to commander because of his previous involvement with Mother. I could still remember what they called him out on the streets. A wolf wearing a man's skin, a spy, a traitor. But Fritz only smiles.
Sure, there were other reasons, but being with the princess has always been the most important. I miss being her personal knight.
Jurian eyes him skeptically for a few moments, but in the end, she only shakes her head and smiles. I'm glad for the two of you, then. She excuses herself after that, explaining that she has a speech to prepare as the newly promoted commander. The moment she leaves, the corridor becomes quiet. I look up at Fritz, wondering if I ought to apologize for being one of the reasons he had to step down, or should I congratulate him on his new freedom? Oh boy! Getting us the esoteric stuff right from the bat. Boom!
Well, I feel like whatever his other reasons were, he probably would have stepped down either way, so it's not actually your fault.
True. Yeah, I also forgot that Hildur was very much involved in this story too. There's some things I just totally wiped out from my memory when because then again, it has been a year since I played the first game, so yeah, Hildur was very much alive in this one too. Oof. Because on top of that, Fritz was cursed most of the curses are happening involuntarily, but Fritz in particular, he literally did not know he was cursed. At all. Until Lucette had to break hers. Oof. Because I think Lucette would know that it's partially Hildur and his dad. That's why he's stepping down too. God, this is tricky. But I mean, man, it's like on the one hand, you get to be closer to your boyfriend / fiance, but then the other hand, the reasons behind it are so gray. I don't know. I don't know. Alright, you know what? When in doubt, a coin. Feel free to call it.
Apologize to him, he'll be more inclined to say, no, it isn't you, don't worry, and then you can be like, well, then what is it?
That is a good point. And it did say tails, so apologize it is. Here we go. Fritz looks at me, startled.
Why are you apologizing to me?
Because the reason you had to resign in the first place. He says he resigned for me, but there was also the reputation he had. The reason he is so mistrusted in the first place is because of me. If I hadn't brought Mother back 2 years ago, he would not be in this predicament. Fritz places a hand on my shoulder.
You don't need to apologize, Princess.
But I'm surprised that he puts a finger to my lips and leans toward me.
You need to stop apologizing. I told you before, everything I did 2 years ago, I did to protect you. Everything I did of my own volition. When I was cursed, I fought for you, even when I was only a shadow of myself, and I'm proud of that fact.
Yeah, that's the one thing I have to give credit for Fritz for. He didn't know the nature of his curse, but the fact that he was still with Lucette through thick and thin of that, you have to give kudos for that. He literally was a different person under his curse. But yeah. Cannot help but remember that other side of him when he says that. The masked personality with the snarky smile and the sardonic words. And it also kind of begs the question, like, was the part in him all along and the curse just enhanced it? Or just... was it all the... was just all the curse... all the curse is doing? That's like the big debate with his... which is really interesting. As much as Fritz likes to pretend that part of him never existed, it's impossible not to see it now. The more comfortable he becomes with me, the more I see that other side of him. I guess I kind of answered my question there. I think because maybe the curse brought out something that he already had.
Please, Princess, no more apologizing. Fine.
In that case, congratulations? Fritz steps back with a smile. And now I'm thinking of the song Congratulations from Hamilton, even though it is a completely different context.
Thank you. Anyway, with this resignation, I finally unleashed myself from the order.
His gaze seems unfocused when he looks away, almost like he's remembering something.
I'm never going to let anyone else rule my life ever again.
That's actually an interesting point. Fritz? Oh yeah! Did he forget who he was talking to?
But the princess? Oh, yeah. You know what I mean.
His expression softens when he looks at me.
It's nothing. I'm all yours now, princess. Well, almost. But first, I have something I need to do. Care to tag along?
I smile when he holds out his arm. I do not mind the stares we get from the passing servants as I loop my arm through his hand. I do. I've been watching too many like old Hollywood bloopers. Like that's like the last thing you would think would be happening is like bloopers from like movies from like the 1960s backwards. But there were a bunch of them. I didn't expect that. And some of them are just straight up hilarious. I might send you a few.
Alright. Sounds good.
Alright, we'll try this again. I smile when he holds out his arm. I do not mind the stares we get from the passing servants that loop my arm through his and lean on his shoulder. There we go. There we go. By all means, lead on. The two of us make our way to the throne room together. Just as expected, the king is waiting for us. He has already cleared his schedule to make time for this personal audience with Fritz.
Oh, that's what he looks like.
Yep, that's what it looks like. I like the cape. Like, they changed the color. It was like white before.
As the two of you are both here, I'm going to assume that the ceremony has come to a close.
Fritz releases my arm to duck into a bow.
That is correct, Your Majesty. I am no longer with the Order of Caldera. All that remains is for me to return the required documents and decorations of my position.
Father looks at Fritz thoughtfully. Then he smiles.
I would like to personally thank you for your dedication to this kingdom, Sir Fitzgerald. I apologize for heaving the responsibility of commander onto you when you are still so young.
Yeah, he was pretty young when he got into this. Fritz's lips twitch. I look at him quizzically. not entirely certain if I was imagining the scowl on his face. Okay, what's going on? I thought his curse broke, so...
I don't know, it might still have some, like, PTSD, you know.
True.
You know, talking about it, he's like, oh yeah, that was really hard, wasn't it? I did not like it when you did that, as a matter of fact. No apologies unnecessary, Your Majesty. It was and always has been an honor to serve Angiel.
Also, I just can't help but keep on staring at King Gennaro's rose pin. Like, it looks really cool.
It was an honor to have a man as dedicated and committed as you leading the order.
Also, I think his hair's bigger too, for what it looks like. I have to look at the screenshots from like the previous ones.
Now,
Father stands, surprising us both.
Though I'm afraid it will not be as grand as knighting you with the sword, I would insist that I reward you for all your hard work. From this day forward, I bestow upon you the title of Lord. I would also give you a stretch of land. You may do with it whatever you desire.
So basically he's higher ranked than his own dad. Wow. Fritz shifts on his feet. His fidgeting is a sure sign that he has something he wants to say. The king seems to notice.
What say you, Sir Fitzgerald? I require no land, Your Majesty. I still have my father's manor, but if I may be so bold, I would like to make a request.
Okay, what do you think it's gonna be?
This is still early on, so I don't know him well enough to really make any guesses, personally.
True.
Boy, you got any ideas?
Well, it might be too soon for a proposal, but on the other hand, at this point, they know each other for like a super long time. Like, I think it's like, if I had to like put the order of like people who knew each other from most to least, obviously, with the exception of Rod, Karma and Chevalier are basically like, they're gonna be like basically in the bottom. But if I had to rank it in terms of like people who knew Lucette the most, it would probably be like, Rod and Waltz would be about the same, would be higher, like in the top 2, and then Waltz would be like a close third. Actually, no. Rod would be a third. Waltz would be Waltz would be number 2, and then Fritz would be number 1. Because like, Fritz has been around like all the time. So, if a proposal, or at least the thought of one, came up here, I wouldn't be surprised. On the other hand, if he requested a bakery being built right next to his house, because he's the baked goods guy, I could totally see it. It's like Rupert Grint in his ice cream truck. Tying it back, here we go.
Request.
Fritz and I share a glance. Or, if it's a vacation, maybe, because they haven't haven't hung out together for a while.
State your request, Sir Fitzgerald.
Fitzgerald falls to one knee and bows his head. Okay. Oh!
Your Majesty, I humbly request that I be allowed to publicly court your daughter, Princess Lucette.
I knew it! No, I mean, I didn't think I thought it was going to be like proposal in terms of proposal, but actually the courting makes more sense considering that they've been basically under title restrictions up until this point, essentially. So it makes total sense here.
Yeah, I'm like, you wouldn't ask for a proposal right there, like with her standing there, because the proposal would have to be to her rather than when you ask the dad for permission, you know?
Right. Yeah, because, like, I mean, I think the other part with, like, Waltz, at least, is that, at least, like, I think because, like, Lucette already, like, got the throne already, so at that point, it was just more so timing than permission, whereas with all the other, like, all the rest of the endings is all about permission, essentially. Like, permission to, like, actually go the next step.
Yeah, but with Waltz, I'm like, she's already queen. Who else are they gonna ask permission?
Yeah, essentially, except maybe like the people themselves. But even with that, it's like very much more of a ceremonial context than it is like I need to get their approval. But yeah, I think that's the other part. It's like also like the titles are completely different. Like Waltz, no titles whatsoever. Fritz, he just upgraded to Lord. Chevalier, I don't think he has a title. Karma's a prince, so there's that. So it's like it's more like a regional thing at that point. And Rod, they're from the same kingdom, so it wouldn't be too it wouldn't be too much of a stretch for them to be together. And plus, they're not related, so there's that.
That's always a plus. When looking for a partner.
How is he surprised by this?
I don't know what he was expecting, but it was not that.
Did he approve this already then? And he just like, was like, that's a given, isn't it? You saved my daughter's life. Of course I'm gonna let you date her. Like, why are you overthinking this? But I'm surprised too, Lucette. I'm surprised too. This news seems to take father aback. I stare at him confused. But he already knows that Fritz and I love each other. Why is this a surprise? I mean, come on. He should relate considering that he buried Ophelia. So... Father lowers himself to the throne once again. His movements oddly stiff. Fritz is still bent on one knee, his head ducked in deference. The room is eerily silent. When no one rises to meet the challenge of the quiet, I clear my throat and speak first. Here we go! Father?
I apologize.
Even Fritz looks up at this.
Your Majesty? I give you my blessing, Sir Fitzgerald. You are more than free to court my daughter. It is her decision whom she chooses, after all.
Yay! I think it's also just the shock of being a dad. With the fact that up until this point, he basically was not able to fully participate in Lucette's life. And so, like, the moment he's finally able to do so is all of a sudden like, wait, my daughter is dating somebody. Now what? I think it's...
Yeah, surprise might have just been, you know, along the lines you said. He's like, oh yeah, he has to ask me, I guess. Yeah, by all means.
Yeah, it's such a dad moment right here. Oh, there's a however.
However.
Father's expression falls. I know what he's going to say before he even says it, and it makes my heart sink. Is it about his dad? I wonder. Oh!
Public opinion is not easily swayed. There is no doubt in my mind that your displays of affection will be criticized.
Right. Yeah, like the crowd's still kind of hating Fritz even after all of this. Because it's kind of... They're associating Fritz with, like... Hildur and by proxy his dad. Like if they think like father like son. Sin's the father thing again. Father tilts his head toward me.
Do you understand my meaning, Lucette?
As loath as I am to admit it, I do. There is a fragile balance between in our kingdom right now. The magic that once existed is now completely gone. Okay, this was the ending where everybody died. I remember now. So, let me list off people who did not make it through this one. So, obviously Hildur didn't make it, but also Parfait didn't make it, and in turn, both crystals basically cancel each other out, because Parfait and Hildur were the bearers. So as a result of those crystals being gone, that in turn took out all the magic from the witches and the fairies of the kingdom. So basically there's no magic left. And then Alcaster died, Myth died, Delora died, and Garland died as well. So like a good chunk of the people died in this ending. And then I think it was Karma's ending that like Fritz died. And in addition to all of the other people, though, I think in that one, the crystals are still existing. So, now I remember. It was this one that the magic's all gone. Yeah, like, Karma and Fritz's endings, they blend in a little bit. So, that's why I was like, oh... Which one was it that did that? The witches and even some of the fairies blame me for its loss. Winning over the humans has already been difficult enough. Then most of the townfolk in Angielen are curious to me, many of them still do not trust me. And Fritz, many people still believe he's to blame for many of the mother's atrocities. Despite the things he's done to make up for it, they still choose to blame him, even knowing he was cursed the entire time. There would undoubtedly be bad rumors of the two of us publicly courted. I understand what you mean, but it does not affect my feelings.
We're trying to rekindle the people's trust in us. I'll make them trust me.
Fritz rises and stares adamantly at the king.
I've been dedicated to this kingdom ever since I became a knight, and I still am. Not even if...
He falters, but only briefly.
My point is that Princess Lucette and I have been trying to make things right since Hildur passed, and our own efforts to find happiness should not be thwarted by people we're trying to help. You have changed, Sir Fitzgerald. I remember your gentleness from when I first knighted you. Even now, you wear a smile on your face in trying times. You remain dedicated to our kingdom, even when it was broken and healing. You still smile, but now you smile with confidence.
Whoa!
You have my blessing, Sir Fitzgerald, so long as you have my daughters. Remember what I said to you. I have bestowed upon you the title of Lord. No one, not even the nobles, can look down on you.
Yeah, I knew there was the strategic going on with that title. Because, like, the fact that he's higher than even his own father, Sir Caster, who also died too, I remember that. The fact that he's higher than Sir Caster should speak volumes to the townspeople about how much he's changed. So that's definitely a strategic move on his part, about trying to sway public opinion. For what I can tell, anyway.
Hold your head proud.
And I think also in turn trying to, like, reinforce Fritz's confidence, because no doubt him being cursed like that kind of put a lot of questions in his mind. He turns to me.
The same goes to you, Lucette. I appreciate your reminder. I should know that love knows no boundaries.
It also reminds me I gotta write a letter of my own. He smiles fondly, and I could tell he's thinking of Ophelia. Wait, oh yeah, she died here too, didn't she? Oh my gosh, like so many people died in this ending. Yeah, she died in this ending, I forgot! like, this is like... so many characters are gone in this one. A small pain echoes somewhere inside my heart, but it feels misplaced and distant. The wounds of the past may still hurt, but they are healing. Our conversation with Father does not last much longer. After speaking briefly on some technical process Fritz must now undergo to obtain his new title, the king excuses us from the throne room. Outside in the hallway, Fritz seems equal parts relieved and deflated. I was expecting to come out of that feeling lighter, but Father's concerns will continue to weigh on me. Fritz forces a smile on his face. He is always good at making it seem as if he's fine, even when I know that he must be hurting on the inside.
Well, that went better than I expected.
In some ways, yeah, I'm kind of surprised it went as well as it did. But in other ways...
It's a scary thing talking to a dad about his daughter.
Especially if, like, you got a curse that basically changes your personality, which in turn changes reputation among people, and then you have to convince them, like, hey, that was my curse, not actually me, even though part of it was actually me, but exaggerated.
And the dad happens to be the king of the land, you know.
Who also happened to be affected by the same curse that his ex-wife basically put him and in turn his entire kingdom under. And on top of that, all the magic is pretty much gone from the kingdom, so there's that.
Yeah, fun stuff, fun stuff.
Fun stuff! Oh, Fritz. Fritz. He grabs my hands and plants a kiss on my forehead.
I think I'm going to attend those obligations the king mentioned. I still need to return some documents and my armor, but after that I'll make sure I'm available for you the rest of the day.
He squeezes my hands.
Perhaps we could even spend tonight together? I was thinking about a night in the town, but your thoughts seem to be on other things.
He raises an expectant eyebrow. When I nudge him in the shoulder, the cocky grin fades from his face and is replaced by a smile that oozes innocence. I'm beginning to wonder if maybe he wears that innocence like a shield.
Anyway, I'll be back later. Let's meet up in your room in 2 hours' time.
He starts to bow, but then suddenly stops, realizing he no longer needs to. Instead, he smiles at me one last time before turning and heading in the direction of the commander's office. He may try to hide it, but I could tell that he's also distressed by what the king said. Maybe I could buy him something in town. Something that will cheer him up. But what could I possibly purchase for him? Oh, yeah, another tricky food-related stuff. But I remember precisely he likes baked goods. He mentioned the croissant place in Waltz's route, so I'm gonna do that for here. Because I know he likes baked goods. He always recommends this one bakery in particular. That one I know easily. Fritz always did love visiting the bakeries. Croissant sounds good, actually. The other question for me is, do I go plain, almond, or chocolate?
I just don't really have any access to any right now.
Ah. Well, there is Goldbelly. I mean, I know they do croissant donuts, but I wonder if they do croissants. I'll have to look afterwards. Anyway. It has been a long time since we had gone to one together, and an even longer time since we shared a pastry. Fritz said his favorite desserts were chocolate croissants. I should buy him one for later. Typo right there. It says favorites instead of favorite. Anyway. I nod my head, slowly feeling resolute, and then head to the palace gates. Much to my surprise, the woman at the bakery remembers me. Not as the crown princess, but as the peasant who used to come here frequently with Fritz. I am relieved when she greets me with a smile and a bow. She eyes the knights at the door, but says nothing when I order 2 desserts. A chocolate croissant for Fritz, and a custard Danish for myself. This place brings back so many memories. Fritz used to love bringing me to the small bakery. He knew how much I loved dessert and wanted to show me all the best cafes in Angiel. I take the 2 desserts and walk out of the small bakery. I sigh with relief as I come out of the small space, relieved to be back in the town plaza, where things are more spacious. A woman smiles as she passes me by. "Good afternoon, your highness!" She curtsies. "Good afternoon." She already has walked off by the time I respond. Most of the townsfolk, while polite, are still quiet around me. They still prefer speaking with Emmeline and Rod. What can I do to make them trust me? What can I do to heal Angiel? The 2 knights trail behind me as I begin to walk back to my carriage. I prefer having it parked in inconspicuous areas, so that I'm forced to walk around and speak to the townsfolk. I hope it makes me seem more approachable. I am still lost in my thoughts when we come into an emptier part of the plaza, and someone abruptly steps in my path. I take a step back immediately. The knights are behind me and my side in a heartbeat. Oh, I apologize. The same woman I just passed? Was she headed in this direction? There is no need to apologize. I'm afraid I wasn't watching where I was going.
Is she gonna rob you?
I don't know!
Is she a pickpocket, one of those like bumps into you? Oh, sorry about that. Runs off with your purse. I'm shocked when a mischievous smile appears on her lips. I am so fixated on her face that I barely register the sound of shattering glass at my feet. Oh, she's getting kidnapped! A waft of mist suddenly rises from the ground, making it impossible for me to see anything. Princess! The knight's voice comes from behind me. I feel him grab at my arm. No! Wait! This hand is ungloved! I try to pull it away, but to no avail. A second stronger hand grips my other arm, pulling me away from the knights and through the mist. My eyes are teary as the strangers pull me away from the area. I struggle to clear my thoughts as we emerge into an alleyway. When I look up, I see the woman from earlier. A man stands beside her, arms crossed. That was a little too easy. Honorable Knights of Caldera, Seems that we can still get the better of them, even without magic.
They're ex-witches! Oh! These people are... They turn to look at me. Hello, Princess Lucette. What is the meaning of this?
You really can't guess, little Miss Princess?
The man looks at me with surprising calmness.
We're taking you hostage.
Yep, it's a kidnapping! Here we go! What?
Don't try anything funny. We don't want to hurt you, but we will if we need to.
What are you gonna do? Big potions? Cause I don't think you can do that! If the magic's all gone.
I don't know, they did something with the mist.
True.
So...
I mean, on the other hand, there could have been, like, leftovers of what they could have gotten. But I don't know. It's weird. I glare at the 2 of them. What is it? What is that you threw back there? A mist potion. One of the last left in Angiel. Yep, I knew it. It was a remnant. So, the mist can't make any more. So what are they gonna do? The woman scowls at me. As you know, there is no more potion making. Not in a world where magic no longer exists.
Some of the others thought we ought to make you pay for taking away our magic. We are of the opinion that this would be cruel. You should be grateful for that.
What do you plan on doing with me? You'll be staying with us for a little while until we can decide on a ransom price. If you can't make gold selling our potions, we'll just have to get it some other way. This is cowardly. I am startled when the woman slaps my face. I step back, eyes wide. Damn! Oh god!
I thought we said...
The woman silences the man with a glare. She turns back to me. What would a little girl like you know of our pain? Lady Hilda was going to make this a place for all of us witches to thrive. Instead, because of your meddling, magic is gone forever. And not only that, but the humans who know we are witches still ostracize us, making it impossible for us to get jobs. A spoiled princess like yourself, who has not even tried to bridge that divide, has no business telling us what is cowardly. I've been too busy trying to mend this kingdom as a whole. I have been trying to gain the people's trust. I had thought with magic gone, there'd be no more reasons for anyone to hate witches. Well, as we all know from science class, correlation does not equal causation. The fairy tales and in turn magic may have gotten a bad reputation from the humans, but elimination doesn't mean the mistrust will be gone altogether. Because there's still motivation you have to think about.
Yeah, and as we learned from social studies, causation doesn't even matter in most people's opinions.
Yep! Because they will find some excuse, some rationale to make sure you're not going to go that far. And
The world we live in.
And yet this discrimination still exists? Yep! The partners usher me forward. When I do not come willingly, the man grabs my arm and pulls me behind him. The two begin to traverse a series of complicated alleyways that lead deeper and deeper into the town. It almost feels like a labyrinth. The sky darkens into a crimson, then a deep purple as we move further into the alleyways. Dang, how far does this go? I was meant to meet Fritz hours ago. Thinking about Fritz makes me think of rescue, and of the knights that were separated from me. Do the knights even know about these alleys? I stop abruptly. I must do something.
Do the knights? But I'll bet Fritz does.
I mean, I had a pretty good suspicion that the knights do know, considering all the stuff that Sir Alcaster has done and all the really, really weird stuff that they did for some of the other endings, at least. But I don't know if it applies here, but we'll see.
And part of me is curious if this man might have ended up being the same one that was in jail in Waltz's story.
I wonder.
Part of a similar group.
It's totally possible. I mean, granted, I mean, like, they're trying to use, like, the same sprites for simplicity's sake, but on the other hand, I would not be surprised if it was the same guy, because, like, loyalty to Hilder is very much a common theme here, and him being the most screwed over because Hilder's no longer around. Totally plausible. That's totally plausible. I would think about that one.
It's like how many people were there actually like brave enough to step out and take an action about it? You know?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Anyways.
You don't have the luxury of stopping now, princess.
Not unless you want to try our patience. The woman makes some dismissive gesture at the man and he nods his head before walking through the alley ahead of us. Where is he going? None of your business. Oh gosh, this is getting dangerous now. The woman pulls a hidden dagger from her sleeve and holds it to my neck. But don't think his absence gives you any sort of advantage. Oh god, what do I do now?
Oh no. Honestly, I feel like if you say something, she is actually less likely to try to hurt you, like physically, than if you run. I feel like if you run, she's just gonna like throw the knife in your back or something.
And you don't really know like the way out of this alleyway, because like you're basically going through like a labyrinth essentially. So where would you go? Because like it's clear that she knows her way through here. But would speaking not making any difference, considering like most of the townspeople kind of are like meh?
Well, at least speaking up, you have a chance to voice your opinions and like try to connect with them, whether or not they'll actually listen to any of it.
Okay, let's give that a shot. Let's try speaking up and see what happens. Harming me would only anger the king they want to ask ransom from. No, these people will not injure me. That is a good point, because the moment you hurt somebody in the line of succession, you lose your case by default. So that's something I'll have to keep in mind. And running would be unwise in this area better than me. So that's the other part that I was thinking. So, yeah, maybe speaking up was the right call. You are aware of how foolish this is, aren't you? I would reckon that it's hardly as foolish as your own mistakes, Princess. I swallow back my retort and narrow my eyes. Even if you're able to demand a ransom from the king, the knights will stop at nothing to track you down. You're putting yourselves in danger. And? I meet the woman's gaze with confidence. It is no lie when I say that I am trying my best to right the wrongs I committed in the past. I do not intend to let this discriminatory behavior continue. The woman scoffs. How honorable. You think you can barter with us, Princess? You think you, the princess no one ever wanted, can save us from the situation? The woman presses the flat of the dagger further into my neck. I gasp before I could help it. I would remember who was in charge here. Oh? Do tell. Oh! I think it might be Fritz.
I wonder who it is that needs to be careful.
The woman and I turn at the same time to face the source of the voice. Yep! Do it! Fritz walks towards us from the opposite end of the alley. Yeah, that's what I was saying! He would know! He would know these alleyways front to back. Come any closer, and I'll slit the princess's throat. She brings the dagger closer to my neck, but something silver flashes through the air and cuts the motion short. The dagger falls from her hand. Two daggers lay on the ground. One that belongs to the woman, and the other must have been thrown by Fritz. Dang, Fritz! That is a risky move right there!
He knows what he's doing.
He knows what he's doing.
Hey, what's happened here?
The man who I presume had been scouting the area has returned. When he catches sight of Fritz, he moves to stand protectively by the woman's side. Both take a step back as Fritz approaches, eyes flashing dangerously.
I wouldn't test me if I were you.
Yep, do not mess with the former bodyguard of the Queen of Like, not queen. Princess Evangel. I forget, like, Waltz's ending was the one she's actually queen. Anyway, I take a few steps back as well, putting myself as close to Fritz as possible. Fritz glances at me.
Princess, are you unharmed?
I am. He offers me a tight-lipped smile before turning his attention back to the kidnappers.
Looks like it's useless trying to reason with people that have thick skulls. But at least you tried, Princess.
You heard all that? Dang! Thick skulls? It is you humans who have the thick skulls. Us witches? She stops abruptly. The realization dawns upon her slowly. There are no witches. Not anymore.
I've memorized your faces. No matter how far you run, I will track you down.
I have a very particular set of skills.
I will find you.
And I'll make sure you do not call yourselves witches or threaten anybody ever again. Ha! A personal hunting dog, are we?
Hey, those are big words for a knight who does nothing but take orders.
Oh!
Oh?
I am surprised when Fritz draws his blade. He has no need to wear the scabbard at his side now that he has given up his title, and yet here he is carrying a sword. In a heartbeat, he has a tip pointed at the man's neck.
Allow me to enlighten you.
Oh snap! Like, yeah, he's truly the Liam Neeson of this story. If they are hurt, nothing will change. Fritz, let them go. Fritz? Fritz puts his fingers to his lips and releases a shrill whistle. The dark spaces in the alleyway, which I presumed to be empty, suddenly fill with knights. Damn! He may be retired, but he is still like, you can take a knight out of the army, but you can't take the army out of the knight. Especially. Wow. Did Fritz lead them here?
Anyone who puts the princess in danger is to be captured on sight.
Fritz pulls back his sword, eyes narrowed. The knights leave no further signal. Two of them rush forward to grab the man and woman from behind. Fritz watches, his gaze cold. Eventually, once the kidnappers have been contained, he turns to me with a gentle, if not tired, smile. Whew.
Are you sure you're okay, Princess?
I'm fine, Fritz. Those two were witches. Or they used to be. They wanted to capture me and demand a ransom from the king.
They weren't very tactful, were they?
Yeah, they were like Bond villains, essentially, just revealing everything in one shot. I watch as the knights take the former witches away. Both glare at me as they're led down the hall alleyway. Before, they might have fought back with magic. Now, they have nothing.
Princess?
I feel Fritz's hand on my cheek.
Come on, let's go back. We'll need to report this incident to Jurian.
Hey, it's weird. It's like they did the worst thing possible, but trying to kidnap a crown princess. But at the same time, you can understand their desperation. I mean, I didn't intend to think about a real-world parallel, but it's kind of like how if somebody didn't have a chance to get if they lost their job, let's say, and the chances of being employed are super low, and you're desperate.
Let's just grab the first lady off the street.
granted, that was not the best way of doing it, but I mean, like... I turned to Fritz as the two of us are walking out of the alleyway. Wow, I just did like total whiplash just a few seconds ago, but I couldn't. But here is the question that we have all been asking. How did you find me?
Practice. I'm a good tracker, princess.
It is no wonder he turned into the big bad wolf.
When you weren't at your room, I went looking for you. The knights reported that you left the palace earlier, so I went searching for you in town.
Fritz frowns.
You had no idea how hard I was when they told me you'd been captured. I ought to have reprimanded them for losing you so easily. If I was still their commander, I would have.
Fritz stops himself and shakes his head.
What were you doing out in town?
I hold up the wrinkled bag with a sigh. Fritz eyes it with curiosity. For a few moments he looks puzzled, then he notices the pattern on the bag.
Oh.
I take out the now cold croissant out of the bag with a grimace and hold it out to him.
Princess, you shouldn't have.
His eyes brighten when he takes a bite.
It's delicious.
I will agree with this. Like, hot or cold croissants are delicious.
Thank you. I was actually going to take you out to the bakery later tonight. They have a light display that I really want you to see. But you went ahead and bought me something anyway. And then you got captured because I wasn't with you.
I bristle at his comment. Because he wasn't with me? If I could use magic, I would have been able to defend myself. Or maybe if I had a weapon.
Or cast barriers.
Yep. Had I been armed, I might have been able to protect myself. I might not have needed to be rescued. I sighed to myself. I thought the knights would have given me their sword when I have not even been trained to use one. Is there nothing I could do to protect myself?
Honestly, you were with the knights, and the knights were armed and knew how to use them.
Then again, they got smoked. Literally.
Yeah. But part of me is still like, could you have done any better, like, than the knight that?
That's $1 million question. Which, we will get answered actually when we get to Karma's story, because that's his thing, is sword fighting. So, we'll find out about that when we get to that point. I just remember the order that I played this too. So I did like, I think it was like, I did Rod, then Chevalier, then Karma, then Fritz, then Waltz. So I just remembered that I'm doing the reverse order of this. So now I remember what the order was. Because like Karma, hands down, was the sword guy. Anyway, after explaining...
The captors probably would have just taken her sword anyway.
True. They would have searched her probably. Then again, I think the magic was still intact in Karma's ending, so she had more options. But yeah. Anyway, after explaining the situation to both Jurian and my father, I am finally allowed to return to my room. The first thing I do is collapse onto my bed with a sigh. I have not been laying down for long when a knock sounds on the door.
Is that?
Self-voicing disabled.
Oops. I keep forgetting the V's voicing. Anyway. Come in. I sit up as Fritz enters the room. He is smiling his usual smile, but he does not seem to be trying very hard to hide the tiredness in his eyes. I pat the space on the bed beside me. Are you okay, Fritz?
Right as rain. Because we believe that.
Nah, he is most definitely not. I mean, come on. Your girlfriend basically got kidnapped by ex-witches while you weren't when you just recently dropped your position as head of palace security. And yet he acted like it, like for a good chunk of that moment. So it's like crew in the position has never left him. Like, I'm surprised he isn't having second thoughts about going back. He slides onto the bed beside me and slowly, almost hesitantly, settles an arm around my waist, pulling me closer.
I'm just relieved to know that we got to you today before the situation got any worse, Princess.
Oh yeah, like, his timing was actually pretty impeccable. Fritz? You don't have to call me by my title anymore, you know. He had to as an head of Caldera, but he is no longer a knight. Which I kind of weird, because usually when, like, you lose a title, that makes it even more so you gotta go by the title. Which yeah. At least to me, anyway.
I'm like, he's not a knight anymore, but he's still a lord. And I feel like lords still say princess.
Yeah, he's still pretty low down the totem pole. I'm relieving you of that responsibility. Fritz laughs sheepishly.
Some habits die hard.
And now I'm having a flashback to like a few episodes earlier when I referenced resolutions from Star Trek Voyager from season 2, and the part was like, maybe you should call me we're no longer in a command structure, maybe you should call me Catherine, and then Chakotay's like, give me a few days on that one, okay? And like he still does the aye thing. There is a moment of silence between the two of us. I note the telltale tension in his body and stifle a sigh. I made him worry today. Had I been able to escape earlier, I might not have needed anyone's assistance.
Don't blame yourself for not being able to escape people who set up a plan to kidnap you.
Like, you can't plan for every single contingency. You can try, but ultimately, there are going to be things you just can't predict at all, no matter how well trained you are. That's the first thing you kind of learn in martial arts school, is that no matter how well trained you are, there are going to be still some things that you're just not going to get down, or not going to be able to avoid.
I mean, she had guards with her. I feel like that's as much as anyone could really expect to need, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, especially with like heads of state, it's complicated when it comes to like the nature of defense. Because, like, how much can you get involved? How much can you prepare for personally? And then how much can you prepare for in terms of security detail? It's so much to think about. But it occurs to me this is not the first time I've lamented my inability to fight back. As a princess, my life is technically always in danger. Knowing how to defend myself would be extremely helpful. I close my eyes and frown, unable to stop my thoughts from flooding with familiar faces. All of them now gone. Garland, Delora, Parfait. I still believe I would have been able to save them had I made wiser decisions and known how to fight back. I do not want anyone else to get hurt because of my own weakness.
Lucette.
Fritz pulls a straight up loose hair away from my face. May I ask you for some advice, Fritz?
Of course. Anything.
I would like some means of protecting myself. Fritz furrows his eyebrows.
Lucette, next time you go out, I'll make sure to be with you.
Fritz, I want to be able to protect myself. Fritz looks at me quietly. Then, much to my surprise, he smiles, if not a little grimly.
I don't have much advice, but I do have this.
He points to his wrist. I turn to watch in awe as he slides a dagger out of his sleeve. He hands it to me. Isn't it forbidden for knights to carry concealed weapons?
Yeah, but he's not a knight, is
No,
he?
not anymore! The townsfolk must always be able to see what knights carry. The rule was implemented a few years ago, soon after the chaos that befell Angiel. All those granted the right to carry weapons must carry them out in the open. It is our way of building trust with the denizens of the kingdom. Much to my surprise, Fritz grins at me. You just said
There we
that.
go.
There you go! Yep, you just said it. You just said it. The expression fades as he puts his finger to the flat surface of the blade. I cannot help but stare at the elaborate design on the hilt. It is beautiful. Where'd you get this?
It belonged to my mother a long, long time ago.
Oh snap, she was a knight too?
I'm like, oh, his mother had a personal dagger.
I know! Fritz has barely spoken of his mother. All I know about her is that she died when Fritz was very young.
My father gave it to her as a gift. She wanted it for the same reasons you did.
Suddenly, his expression is melancholy. He dips his head and frowns. Yeah, I wonder, how did his mother pass anyway? Fritz, you do not need to speak about her if you do not wish to.
No, it's not that. It's just... I remember that the day my mother died, she didn't have this dagger with her.
Oh.
I've had it for a long time, but I never started keeping it on me until...
His voice fades. The flicker of gloom in his eyes tells me that he's remembered the events of 2 years ago. Though I have tried to block out many of the memories from that time, I cannot forget the dagger Fritz once pointed at his own throat. It was the dagger that he kept hidden up his sleeve. The dagger Varg used to threaten us. I forgot about that! Oh my gosh.
Well, I've had it for a while, but now it's yours.
I definitely need to replay the past playthrough, because my goodness, there's so many details that I need to, like, relook at.
Keep it just in case I can't be there. The last thing I want is for you to be in any danger.
I look down at the dagger, contemplating. I would like to learn how to use it. A weapon is useful only when you know how to wield it.
Of course. I'd be more than happy to teach you when I have some time on my hands.
But doesn't he have a lot of time on his hands now that he's no longer a knight?
Not busy lording.
Oh yeah. New sort of busy work. He inhales sharply. I stare in alarm as panic flits across his face. Fritz?
It's nothing, princess.
And knowing Waltz, as we did with the last chapter, that change in demeanor often means something is up. Something historical, of historical proportions, is going on.
I still have to give my detailed report, but I promise I'll be free tomorrow morning.
I wouldn't be surprised, though, if there was like some sort of interrogation that he had to do. He walks toward the door, but then pauses to glance back at me.
Reset. I love you. And I'm glad I can say that without worrying about anything getting in the way.
Ah! I love you too, Fritz. With all my heart. The two of us exchange smiles before he walks out the front door. Once I'm alone, my eyes return to the beautiful dagger in my lap. It feels like Fritz is giving me a part of himself, but I cannot get his earlier distress out of my mind. The dagger was a comfort, but it also feels foreboding, like it might be the trigger to something ominous. I hide it away in one of my drawers before falling back to bed. It takes me a long time to fall asleep that night. And I think it's chapter 2? Yes, chapter 2. Right as Rain. It has some good Adele song if nobody knows about it. Go check it out.
I believe that.
But yeah, I feel like we just needed to get through at least one chapter of the Waltz ending, because, like... So, I may try again in terms of, like, the Waltz true end. I decided to give myself maybe, like, one more shot without the right choice indicator, and if I can't figure it out by this third shot, then I'll use the wiki and then figure out what the true end actually is. But we came across some pretty interesting dialogue, and with Fritz's story, especially with the complication, like, a lot of Lucette's friends are gone here, and also on top of that, the magic's gone. It's gonna be a pretty interesting dynamic to see what happens, you know?
Yeah, you don't have that connection to the people anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's like now this is like a little bit different. So like, I feel like Waltz and Fritz are kind of going different aspects of redemption. So like for Waltz, it's like in terms of action and trying to overcome your history, from what somebody else did, like by association. With Fritz, it's a similar thing, but in this case, it's more so about like identity and the loss of it. Like Fritz stepping down as a knight, and then the whole kingdom losing magic through the destruction of the crystals. So there's all that going on, and so like the identity is by name only and not by ability. It's kind of like how in superhero arcs, like people would like when people would like all of a sudden lose their powers, or they're just not able to fight the same way they used to anymore, or just not able to fight, period. And it kind of brings a lot of these things into question. And some people, it's not really a big deal. Like, with Wonder Woman, you could totally tell, like, I mean, well, we kind of got that with 1984, though that's debatable. That, like, even though she lost her powers, she would still consider herself an Amazon primarily, and so she would still be able to fight back, versus somebody like Superman, because they've identified so heavily with their powers, if they lose them, I mean, granted, they still have Clark Kent to fall back on, but it would still feel weird because that superpowered thing is what they leaned on the most heavily.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see, as time goes on, will these people still identify as witches and fairies, even though there's not actually anything that makes them different anymore?
Right.
Or will they just become normal people?
Mm-hmm. And then also, in turn, kind of the trial of, public perception. Because there is literally, at this point, there's literally no boundary in terms of accepting these ex-witches into the fold, except their own prejudice. That got deep! Oh my gosh!
Yeah, and I'm just, like, thinking, if they didn't say they were witches, if they didn't identify that way, is there any way for people to even know that? Like, people are, prejudiced against these witches, but if they didn't say anything, would people even know, or would they just be able to get by like normal people?
That's a good question. I mean, I think it's also the fact that, like, I think it's also reputation, because, like, some of those witches were actually selling potions and stuff on the street, so, like, literally, I think it's, like, by word or appearance only, at that point, would you know. But, like I said, if you didn't know, if you were a newcomer to Angel by chance, and you basically had absolutely no idea who these people were, would you still react the same way? That's the big question. And I think the probability is pretty good that no, you probably wouldn't be able to tell until, like, they started, like, behaving a certain way. Or they did certain actions that, like, a typical human probably wouldn't do. I think the fairies, even more so, it might stick out for them, because, like, they've been more isolated. But for witches, because they lived among humankind for so long, it's, like, they could easily blend in if they wanted to. At least that's my theory about how they work in Cinderella Phenomenon. I have to like watch through my previous parts again to see what they do. Because there's so much deep lore in here that I did not expect. And one thing I kind of hope that Daisuke would even consider was maybe doing a prequel game where it covers the history between, like, Hildur, Parfait, and Delora. Because, like, I mean, you get bits and pieces in these games, in this game by itself, but I would love to actually, like, kind of witness it, to, like, actually play through it and see what happens. And maybe, like, an AU of, like, what if Hildur wasn't corrupted by the Crystallum Tenebrarum and did not become the evil queen that, like, the Grimm brothers are trying to peg her and in turn her kind as.
Well, to a certain point, it comes to a fact, like, if bad things didn't happen, then it might just be a peaceful kingdom without really much of a story to tell.
Fair enough. Or maybe, like, if they managed to fight back up against, like, the Brothers Grimm's reputation a little bit sooner. Who knows? But but yeah, like, I like thinking about, like, theories like that sometimes. It's like, I think that's the interesting part about the story. It's like you can play around with it because, like, it is a story within a story. It's like a fairy tale. It's literally a fairy tale within a fairy tale, essentially. What we're basically playing through, which is great. Yeah, speaking of Wonder Woman, I actually got this Wonder Woman journal, which is really nice. It's like a collector's edition. They have, like, 2 different kinds, which is really nice. So I'm excited to write in it. Anyways. I am at a loss for words today. I don't know why that is.
Yeah, we're going strong, and then I'm just like, my brain just shut off, and I'm like, okay, well, yeah.
It's past midnight. No wonder we hit the Cinderella hour, essentially.
My brain just turned into a pumpkin.
Got the gift. Yeah. That's basically it. Our brains just turned back into pumpkins. We were the carriages and the glass slippers. Now we're just pumpkins and mice.
I'm gonna use that now. Just call it pumpkin brain. You know, when
I may steal that.
it's after midnight and you just can't think of anything. You're like, oh, pumpkin
brain. But yeah, thank you so much for bearing with our technical difficulties and our pumpkin brains. But yeah, this is really fun. I am excited to see where Fritz's ending will take us next. We will also try again with Waltz's true end, and maybe we'll finally be able to find out what he looks like with the crown on. But in terms of other stuff, well, we got Barony. Do we have Barony this Monday?
Yeah, I think my schedule is allowing for Barony this Monday.
Okay, so Barony this Monday it is. Will we finally beat the Baron? Who knows? And then Cinderella Phenomenon Evermore Part 6 will be happening next week. Same time, same place. And I decided that for the other games I wanted to play on the list, like Prince of Persia Sands of Time and DDR, I decided to push it forward to Spring Break Week, which will be happening after this Tuesday. So go ahead. So feel free to come in and enjoy that. I am hoping that I'll be able to do my equipment upgrade by the end of this month, beginning of next month latest. So hopefully we'll be able to do a lot more fun titles without worrying about the lag. So yay, that will change. In terms of other stuff like my Fiverr shop, we got a couple of codes going, and then all those other things you can see right there. And then my social media, feel free to check us out. So my Twitch and my TikTok are the ones I update the most, and of course I upload my streams the day after on my YouTube channel, DJ MK Off the Air, and all my other stuff. So yeah, this is actually really fun. I hope you all enjoyed all the commentary and stuff, and thank you so much, Toby, for joining me for this little adventure.
Oh, always.
Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Stay safe out there. Stay warm. I heard next week's gonna be a lot warmer, thankfully, over here in the East Coast anyway. But thank you so much for watching. Remember, love is without borders. And of course, may your heart be your guiding key. Take care, everybody. Bye!
Bye-bye.